All right, we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Skill Up Show. Good afternoon. Who do I have here? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maribeth Chima, and welcome to the Skill Up Show this afternoon. How are you doing? Okay. All right. Who is joining me? If you are here with me, okay, someone said something about my looks. Okay, maybe it's the glasses. I don't know. Okay, someone said something. Chinima said something about my looks. I don't know what it is, whether it's the glasses, but hey, we're doing so much work online with the screen. And so my doctors have advised that I use my glasses since practically I practically have my eyes on the screen most of the time with all that light and all of that. So yes, I don't know whether that is the look that is different that we're talking about. But hey, it's good to be here. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Skill Up Show. My name is Maribeth Chima. Where are you joining me from? If you are with me, let me know where you're joining me from today. Okay, and let me know your expectation for this session. We are talking about how we should, or why it is important that we have expectations of our children. All right, why we should hold our children accountable. Should we be holding our children accountable, or should we just leave things to chance? Our children will come around. So which one is it for you? Do you think we should hold our children accountable? Do you think, there are children who taught us some of these things? A lot of things that we know nobody taught us. We figured it out on our own. Leave them, they will figure it out on their own. I remember I had not an altercation, right? We had not an argument too. We had a conversation, right? And we were on different sides. I can't remember who it was. I don't know, was it my husband or a friend or something? Anyway, I had this conversation with someone once, and it was about, a child, and the child did a particular thing, and the person was really very upset. I can't remember who it was, but I know I've had this conversation. It was really upset with the child, and I'm like, it's okay. It's upsetting, all right, but I don't think the child knew any differently. What do you mean by that? At their age, we knew all of these things. Who taught us? Who showed you how to do this? Who showed you how to do that and all of that? But hey, the thing is, are the expectations you have the expectations you have of your children, are they realistic? That's what we are looking at today. Should we be holding children accountable? Hi, Adeze Nkechi. How are you doing? It's good to have you. All right, from Lagos. Please, if you're joining us, let us know where you're joining us from. Now, if you're on YouTube, this is a good time to join our YouTube channel. Okay, if you're watching us on YouTube, we have the YouTube link in the group and in different other places. Okay, so you can just click in there and join us on YouTube if you are not in the Facebook group. And when you get there, do well to subscribe. Okay, and don't just subscribe, also use the notification button, the one that is like a bell, so that every time we go live, you get notified that we are live, and you don't miss our sessions, basically. All right, if you're on Facebook and you have a friend that needs to be here, let's take the next 1-2 minutes to invite them. The Skill Up Show is usually a short show. The Skill Up Show is our show where we share tips with parents on skills that they can introduce in their home, skills that they can introduce, especially if you have young children and preteens. Our focus is on young children and preteens, but hey, the lessons or the learning that happens here can work for every group of children, even for your teenagers. Okay, and we're focused on the preteens because a lot of times we know that the first phase, 0 to 7, escapes of 0 to 5. For a lot of parents, we are still not very sure. We're not intentional, or we just don't know what to do in the first 5 years of our children's life. So there are a lot of skills, a lot of things, foundational skills that should have happened at that stage. And because we missed it, okay, the children are already shortchanged. It's like on a scale of 1 to 5, your children they are still somewhere around 1, 2, when they should be somewhere around 5. Okay, so by the time they get to their preteens, what we're trying to do is we're trying to help you, okay, fill in the gap that was left from 0 to 5, and then start introducing them to skills that will help them navigate when they become teenagers. So that preteen phase is very important to us. That young school age, when they become of school age, and then preteen. So we'll focus on your children who are between 6 and 13, 14. But as I said, it works for every group of children. So yes, have you tagged someone? If you've tagged someone, just give me a thumbs up or let me know. Hello, Maribeth. Thank you. Thank you for joining me, Facebook user. If you have tagged someone, let us know that you have. If you have joined us on YouTube, please, as I said, click the subscription button and join us right there. Okay, so let's shoot. Okay, I don't like to be on YouTube at the same time. Just let me do a bit of housekeeping before we move on. Have you tagged someone? Have you invited someone here? So let me give you two scenarios, right? I'll give you two scenarios now. So about a year and a half ago, thereabouts, my son was about 11 years old, and I had gone out with his sister. I think it was a day or so. I can't remember. It was a day, I think last year, thereabouts. We had gone out. My daughter and I had gone out to do some late shopping. We needed to run to a store and pick something that she needed the next day. So we had left him at home to go and do that. In fact, we came back from school. We dropped him off. She was still in her uniform and all of that. No, she had something to eat, and then we dashed out and all that. So we got there, and for some reason, our search was a bit prolonged, and we didn't get back home for a while. Now, at about 8 o'clock, our son called me. About 8 o'clock, he called, or I called to find out how he was doing and what was going on at home. And then I asked him, have you had something to eat? And he's like, no, Mom, I am waiting for you to come back so that we can cook. He was about 11 at this point. And I'm like, say what? You're waiting for me to do what? Come back so that what? It was almost 8 o'clock. And then I said to him, guy, you are on your own. If you've not fixed something for yourself to eat and probably not done something for all of us to eat, then you are on your own and all that. So that day he went into the kitchen and started trying to rustle something at about 8 p.m. in the night, right? Got home, of course, everybody ate dinner late, blah, 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 blah. I came back, you should have done this. I had all those expectations, of course, and I did well to, talk to him about it. I mean, I would think you should have done this, you should have done that, you should have done this, you should have done that. Now, that was one day. Now, 2 days ago, that was Saturday, right? On Saturday, I was out, and my husband was supposed to do something for, run an errand or stop by to get something, and while I was out doing my own thing, I called him up and I decided to join him where he was. So I joined him, and of course we did our thing. So by the time we were done and started going home, it was late, and he was fasting and needed to eat food he had not eaten. Somewhere in my head, it just anyway, we're together and he didn't want to eat out, so we had to go home. But food, I knew that I had not cooked, and there was nothing for him to eat at home and all of that. But hey, this time I was not afraid, Anyway, we drove home and we got home. By the time we got home, my son was almost done cooking and all that. A few minutes after we got in, by the time his father went in, freshened up and all that, food was ready for him to eat. Now, these are two different scenarios, two different times in the life of our son. And what made the difference? Expectations, accountability. So about a year and a half, right, I had started teaching him how to cook. We had started learning how to cook and all of that. But the way it works is we go to the kitchen together, and then I will tell him, get me this, get me that, and all of that. And the days he has to cook, he'll probably get in there, he will start cooking. I am there with him. We're doing it together and all of that, And for some reason, at that time, he had just started to learn how to cook. And yeah, he had just started cooking certain things. Before then, it was just noodles and frying, eggs and stuff like that, chips and all that. So he had just started cooking proper food like jollof rice and that and that and that, right? And there I was as a parent, typical parent, expecting that, now, if you have cooked it once or twice, I've been there with you, Naturally, I'm not around. Just jump in there and finish the thing. But hey, I did not lay down that expectation. It wasn't like, okay, this is something, this is something when I'm not there, go ahead, do your thing and all of that. Yeah. In my head, self-direction. He should be able to direct himself and all of that. This is him. He was 11 years at the time. But the question is, as his parents, right? His question is, as his parents, have I given him room to grow that much? Has he reached this maturity stage in his process? I'm not saying that 11-year-olds should not be able to take their initiative and do some of these things and do these things and all of that. I mean, in some homes, a 10-year-old will probably do this. But me, being truthful to myself, is that where I was, or is that how far I have, directed this particular child on his own journey for me to be making this kind of or having this kind of expectations? The answer is no. At the time, I had not prepped him enough for me to raise or to have this kind of expectation of this child. And that's what brings me to what, where I'll be, hammering on today a lot. What kind of expectations do you have of your children as a parent? Where is your expectation coming from? Is your expectation coming from the fact that there is a child next door? You have your sister's child. You have a child you have seen on TV. You have a child you've seen online. There is something that you've heard. You have a group where you belong to, where other people's children are doing it. So naturally, even though you have not put in the same work that these parents have put in, you are expecting your child, by virtue of the fact that you are 14, like these other people, you are 13, or you are 10, or you are 8, like these other people. If other people's children that are your age mates are doing it, you should also do it. Is that where your expectations are coming from? If this is where your expectation is coming from, then I want to say to you, you are being unfair to that child. Okay, and that's what a lot of us are, unfair to our children. We raise our children from a judgmental point and not from an empathetic point. So we see all the problems and all the issues that our children have. We do not see all the problems and all the issues that we have. So it's always the children. Sorry, just a minute. So it's always the children, and it's never us, okay? So maybe it's time for us to start looking at the part that we play, okay? Maybe it's time for us to start looking at the part or the role that we play, okay, in the lives of our children, and how well we hold them accountable, or what system of accountability we have put in place before we begin to raise these high hopes, or we begin to raise this, or we begin to expect this, raise these tall expectations of these children. Sadly, personally, I think it's a cultural thing. Okay, I think it's a cultural thing. We're from a culture where a lot of times it's believed that things have to be tough for them to be real. It's believed that a child has to go through pain, or we have to all go through pain. We have to go through stress. We have to go through hardship. We have to go through something that doesn't work for us to make it work. Okay, I am not saying that there isn't the place of things not being, things not being the way they should be. Okay, there should be room for our children to adjust when things are not the way they should be, or that there should be room for us to make adjustment when things are different. But somewhere there is this cultural belief that it has to be tough for it to be real, and it's not true. You will see this in our education system. You see it in our education system. You see it in our interview system for jobs. You see it in our system. The recruitment system. You see it everywhere. That is the reason you will have a vacancy for just 5 people, and you will allow 10,000 people enroll for that vacancy, right? You have allowed 10,000 people enroll. Now, when you allow 10,000 people enroll for a job or a position that has only 5 people, that you want to take only 5 people, you will not do the job to have a system where you can see them early. You will pack all 5,000 or how many thousand of them and take them to an arena to go and sit down, and do some false exams and all of that. Shouldn't you have a system where you can sieve, before it gets to that point where, by the time you get to the next level? Okay, so basically our system is such that, this is me, you may think differently, but that's what I seriously think, that our system is such, the culture around here is such that it makes it feel that you have to stress, it has to be hard for it to be real. Right? It has to be hard. It's the same reason, you go to write certain exams, and they give you room. They leave you in a good space. They give you room. They give you all the time that you need. And they say to you, go ahead and, try to figure this out and all of that. And then when you're writing our own exams, it's so tough and so crazy. They make it seem, in fact, the atmosphere around you is like, again, something hard is going to happen around here. Okay? Now, when you go to certain schools, you see children write exams, and the teacher looks, especially like in early years, right? In early years or during foundation, the foundation stage of your child's learning, in early years, basically, you see how children write exams, they sit for some of these tests, basically, and the teacher is saying, okay, honey, you want to look into that script. Are you sure there isn't something you are forgetting? I need you to look at it again and all of that. And some parents will be like, I beg, I can't take my children to that school. Those kind of school. How can you take them to a school that it has to be tough. It has to be everybody pencil up, like this. If you put it down again, it has to be chaotic. Okay, so no, what expectations do you have of these children? Have you prepared them? Have you put them in a place where they can meet those expectations? It is very, very key. Now, rather than getting to that place, let me say something before I even go there. See, realistic parents set realistic expectations. Parents who are realistic have realistic expectations. They don't expect more than what they have put into the child. Judgmental parents have unrealistic expectations, because there is nothing there is nothing, and it begins with the people who work with us first. It begins with those helps who come in to work with us. That's where we start, all the shouting and all the yelling and all of that. You bring someone who is coming from a totally different background, who has probably never seen a house that looks like your house before, who has never seen the kind of gadgets and the kind of utensils you have in your kitchen or in your house, in your home. In fact, the person's head is spinning because the person doesn't know any of these things that you have all around them. And then you leave them there 2 days, 3 days, and you come back. This one is lazy, doesn't know how to do this, doesn't know how to do that. You're already screaming and shouting, and already getting upset with this person that is suffering, first of all, from a cultural and technology and every kind of shock. The person is still going through all kinds of shock. Is it like they have to spell these things out for us to just use, our common sense and figure out that this one is totally lost in this arena? Okay, so we bring in these people to help us from totally different backgrounds, and then they come in, and within hours or a few days, at most 1 week, we already have total expectations of these people. In fact, some people will bring in these children or these young people to be with our children, even if they are even if they are 21, I don't care. But in many cases, they are not even 21, 10, 12, 15, 18-year-olds. You bring them to your home, and then after 2-3 days, you leave them with your children, people that have never had to take care of a child before, people that their mothers have children, and from the moment the child is old enough, the child is on their own, they are on their own. Even at the time, the most they do is back the children. That's all they know about child care. You bring them in, and within 2-3 days, you expect them to begin to perform magic with your children. Some of the things we do, God will give us wisdom. All right, so rather than do all of this screaming and shouting and setting unrealistic goals, how about setting goals and expectations and having conversations with your children about these expectations that you have of them? How about having these goals clear? This is it. Now, in the home, we have to clean the house, you have to wash the toilet, you have to fold your clothes, you have to this, you have to that, you have to do this. There's so many things, so many chores, different things that your children can do at home. How about focusing on one of them per time? and allowing your child have that one thing as a responsibility, of course, going by the age of the child. Now be specific about that one thing and make that one thing the child's responsibility. Now, because I have made this particular thing your responsibility, it means that I am going to hold you accountable for this thing happening or not happening. We will come back to what you have to do. But I'm just saying, rather than all the shouting, all the screaming, and all the tall expectations, how about being specific about what it is that you need? Okay, how about setting those expectations and making them really very clear? How about showing them, okay, and having a discussion, showing them the how, okay? How about showing them how to go about it? Right. How about doing that? How about giving them room for mastery? Okay, because for some of us, you will hear, I have shown this girl, I have told this girl, because I'm sure as I'm talking, that's what some of you are already saying now. So, do you know how many times I've told him or how many times I've shown him? Yet, how about modeling it? And how about after modeling, how about giving them room for mastery? How about allowing the process? How about allowing them go through the process that leads to mastery? Okay, then how about allowing your children get expression, self-expression? Because sometimes we teach them some of these things, okay, and we expect that they must do it that way. They can't turn to the right or to the left. If you are not doing it that way, my way, how about them, they being able to express themselves through that activity while they are trying to gain mastery? How about that? Right? The thing is, a lot of times as parents, our expectations are premature. Our expectations are premature. So let me tell you this. If you are yelling and you are shouting, this is feedback that your child does not understand your expectation, or that your expectation is premature. Let me repeat that. If you have to keep yelling and shouting for your children to do anything, two things. Your child either does not understand your expectation, your expectation is not clear to that child. So your child does not understand what exactly you want. That's one. Or two, what you are expecting is premature. You are not allowing the child go through the process to the point where your child can achieve, or the outcome can be what you are expecting. Your expectation is premature. So these are the two things that could be happening if you find yourself still shouting and screaming. It is feedback for you. So as a parent, what do you do when you get feedback? I mean, some of us work, right? We work in offices, we work in establishments. When you get feedback from your customers, what do you do? When you get feedback from your bosses, what do you do? When you get feedback from your subordinates, what do you do? Do you keep shouting and screaming and all of that, or do you go back to the drawing board? So if you find out that concerning a particular child or a particular area or a particular expectation, you are still shouting and screaming and every time, it means that something is wrong. And it could be that the child doesn't know what you want, or you are in a hurry, in simple terms. Okay, let me look at some of your comments before you continue. Is there someone that needs to be here? Why don't you go ahead and tag them right now? Let them be a part of what we're talking about here. Okay, if you're on YouTube, why don't you take this time to subscribe to our YouTube channel and click that notification button so that you get notified every time we come live. All right, is there anything we can do to remind you of the Skill Up Show more, so that more of you can come and be a part of this? It's a short show, and you're supposed to just take what we have there, apply it in our home immediately for the week, and then see where we can go from there. But these are just tips, and they are not enough. We have systems, we have programs in place that you can enroll your children to work with us, where we can go through this accountability journey with them. There is the place of your children listening to people that are reliable, people that you can rely on, people who share the same kind of values and the same kind of ideology as you do. There is the place for your child to listen to other voices apart from your voice. Think about it. For some reason, when your child gets to that phase in their lives where they start rolling eyes for the many things that you have to say to them, who would they turn to? Think about it. If for some reason you're not present at the time, okay, who else would your child be listening to? God forbid, we don't like to hear that we would die. But hey, what if for some reason the Almighty says, you belong to me, come back? Who else would your child listen to? So you need to bring your children, you need to train your children to also listen to reliable sources, listen to other people. And that's where mentorship comes in, where your children begin to have other trusted people that you trust, that your children can listen to. It's very, very key. We do that in the Mastermind Circle. It's a pair mentorship and accountability group where my son is the lead partner. Okay, they are all young people supporting each other, growing together, building their social skills, connecting, becoming friends, creating a circle of friends from, children that have like minds, right? And then of course they are building friendship right from there. And then apart from that, I am there as the matron, guiding them and being that mentor in place, basically, that they can run to. And of course, it gives you, as a parent, it gives you access to us, it gives you access to me and my team when your child is a part of the Mastermind program. Amazing, amazing, amazing place to be. All right, so let's get back to what we were talking about. Okay, I said I was going to look at your comments. Let me see. Okay, good afternoon. Someone said, raising our children from a judgmental part of is unfair. It's absolutely so. I am an academic. You are right to say our exams, yeah, for instance, shows it. It does show it. We should allow the kids go through the process. Absolutely. Thank you very much for your contributions. All right, so let's look at the importance of accountability. What are the importance of accountability? Why do we need to have an accountability system in our home? Why do we have to create an accountability system? Number one, accountability brings stability. Okay, when you have an accountability system in your home, it brings safety, it brings stability and all of that. Your children know what to expect. You know what to expect. All right, you know what to expect. They know what to expect. So in your home, there is less strife. There is less strife. There is less strife between you and mommy and daddy. Less strife. Strife between mommy and daddy. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. There are times that daddy wants the children to be a certain way or do a certain way. Mommy wants them to be a certain way or do a certain way. The child is doing their own thing. So you see, there's all that conflict and all of that. Okay. Just because there isn't an accountability system that is in place that the child grows into and grows with, that the child knows this is what I am expected to do per time. Because what you realize, especially when they become teenagers, is the reason why you have all this conflict and all of this, back and forth with your children is because they are never meeting your expectations, or they are hardly meeting your expectations. This is what you expect of them, and that is the same thing they are not doing. So most of the conflict that parents have with their teenage children is usually because of a lack of accountability a lack of accountability, really. And that's because this has not been trained in the children over the years. So they become teenagers, and all of a sudden you expect them to be able to do all of these things because, hey, you are a teenager now. You should be able to do these things. But no, you didn't hold them accountable when they were much younger. You didn't teach them the accountability system when they were much younger. You didn't bring them to that place where they walked knowing what to do and doing it because there was a system in place to hold them accountable. So very important, reason why we should create accountability is that accountability brings stability. Accountability quickens the process of maturity for your child. The moment your child begins to understand, your 2-year-old understands, when I finish drinking water, I will take the cup and I'll take the cup to the kitchen. Okay, so the child may be very little, but hey, he already knows that he should take the cup and throw it into the sink. Or he already knows he can drag his potty and put it right there and go and eat. Yes, he's going to spill here and there and all of that, but hey, he knows what he's supposed to do. I promise you, if he's spilling so much water at age 2. At age 3, he will spill less. At age 4, he will spill much less. By the time that child gets to age 5, the child will probably spill no more water. What has happened? The child has grown in the process. But hey, this child understands that this is my responsibility and I need to do it. So accountability will help your child mature into that place of responsibility. So when you put that child side by side, a child their age, where a child there, that is the same age, when the child is in a home where the nanny takes the food, serves the food, packs the plate, washes the plate, and all of that. The child inside, their homes where you go to, that 5-6-year-olds will finish eating, and all they do is push back the chair and they step away. So all the mess and the plate and everything is right there. And then you will see that kind of home. A parent walks in and begins to shout at the nanny straight up, and the child is right there. The child is right there, knowing full well that he was the one that ate there and made a mess there. But the child is watching TV and the child is like, "Mommy, what did you bring for me?" Why you are scolding some other person that didn't do it? And then later we say our children are entitled. So it helps your children, become mature, for their responsibilities. It prepares your children for the reality of life. Reality of life is nobody fixes your mess. That is the real world. I don't care. You can be Otedola's children. You can be Otedola's child. You can be Dangote's child. But nobody fixes your mess. There is a point you will get to. There are certain messes that you will have in this life and nobody will fix them. It is reality. It is reality. There is a time that your character is in question, that it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter whose child you are. The world will still hold you accountable if your parents couldn't hold you accountable. Very, very key. Okay, accountability brings peace. As I said, stability and peace in the home. You come to your home, nobody's shouting, nobody's screaming, because hey, accountability helps you know what you're supposed to do per time, helps you know what your responsibility is, and it helps you get that responsibility out of the way. Okay? Accountability also teaches you the importance. The accountability also tells your child that you trust them. So when you give your children, when you give your children responsibilities, you have expectations of the children. The children know these expectations, and then you're holding them accountable based on these expectations. Now, what it says is, hey, sweetie, I trust you to be able to do this on your own because you are a vital part of this family, and your contribution to the family is very important. So now this is how you begin to make leaders out of your children, just because you have a system in your home that holds them accountable. So from a tender age, your children already know that there are certain things that are expected of them and they cannot fall short. Okay, and so they rise up every day to that responsibility, knowing that they are a part of the team and they cannot be the weak link. Very, very key. Okay, the Skill Up Show is supposed to be a short show. Okay, we do this in 30 minutes or tops 40 minutes. Okay, so we'll be rounding up very soon. Do you have a friend that needs to be here right now? Tag them, someone who needs to listen to all we're talking about here. Tag them right away. Are you catching a replay? Let us know if you're getting value from this session. If you're here, are you getting value from this session? If you are, let us see your thumbs up. Let us see your fire emoji. Let us know that you are following and you're getting value from this session. Now, what can I do? I'm sure you're asking me that question. What can I do? Coach Maribeth, what can I do? What can I do to make sure? What can I do to ensure that accountability becomes a part of my system in my home? Number one is very, very important. You must learn to be clear about your expectations. I said that briefly before. Have an honest conversation with your child, with your children. Okay, state your expectations. Let them know what is expected. What are the rules? What is the process? Provide them with all of these. What are the rules? What is the process? What are you expected to do? Let them know. And then please, parents, let there be consequences. Okay, let there be consequences. So tell your children your expectations. Tell them the rules that obtains in your home, right? Tell them, go through the process with them, okay? And then, of course, let them know the the consequences for not staying true to that expectation or the consequences for not staying true to their responsibility. This is what accountability is about. You're supposed to do this, or this is expected of you. If you do not do it because it's your responsibility, it means nobody else would do it. And so we have a system here that says, if you don't do this, this is what happens. If you don't do this, that is what happens. Very, very key. So set them clear, your expectations. Make them clear to your children and have an honest conversation about this with them. All right, that's number one. Number two, be kind to remind your children. It is not a WAEC. It is not WAEC. It is not expo for you to remind your children of the things that they need to do. I picked the kids from school and we're driving home. And when we're having those conversations about what happened in school, who did this, who did that, and all of that, before we get home, I chip it in. When you get home, what are you going to do, sweetie, when you get home? What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help you raise and already start putting your evening routine at the back of your mind, so that if for some reason the child says, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that, and the child misses one of the things they're supposed to do, I can provide them with reminder. I can say to them, oh, how about this? I thought you were supposed to do that too. And then most times you hear them go, oh, that's true, mommy, and all of that. No big fights. There's no need setting traps for your children. It's okay to remind your children of what they need to do. They are going through a learning process. They are not going through your home is not, it's a test ground, all right. It's a training ground. But no, you are not setting traps for your children to fail so that you know whether you're a good parent or not. Okay? Reminders are still okay. They are children. Okay? That is the reason. That is the reason you travel to certain societies and they have maps for you. Nobody is saying, didn't you do geography? You don't have sense. Right? Apart from the maps, you get into the train or you get to the bus, they have all the stations there. They still remind you of the stations. They still tell you when they get to the station. These are systems that understand that it is not exam. Nobody is good. These are systems that are not judging you. These are systems that know that, anything can happen. And so they are there to always remind you. Why are you turning your home into some battlefield where reminders is not a problem? It's okay to be at work and call the children and say, oh, okay, what are you doing this afternoon? Have you done, and what are you doing this afternoon? Allow them feed you first with what they have or what they know. Okay, when they were done with that, you realize, okay, there are some gaps. Now go ahead and help them fill those gaps. Remind them. It is not a problem to remind your children that way about the things that they need to do. Very, very key. All right, number 3 is model these things. Okay, don't just teach your children. Don't just be a teacher, be a model to your children. For everything, every skill, every activity that I make my children do, I ensure that I model it first for them. When we're running the mentor parent program for parents, we don't run the mentor parent program anymore. Parents should go and find their own accountability group. If I go to the inner circle, Coach Wendy is there for you. Okay, and so send your children to us. We will give them accountability, pair accountability. They and their friends. There is a place of you talking, people talking to the children. There is a place where the children take all of that, they begin to apply it to themselves, and they begin to, they begin to intrinsically motivate themselves. Okay, there is the place where the children begin to make these steps or make this they begin to take these steps on their own in a group where they can hold each other accountable. Young child to young child, this is how they become leaders. When right there, they begin to lead each other. Okay, they begin to lead themselves. Okay, so I am very big on children building muscles, right? Whether it's mental muscles, okay, mental muscles or whatever muscles, in whatever area your children are growing, whatever area your children are learning. After they finish learning with everybody, you must create the opportunity for them to build their own muscles. That's why in education, you finish teaching the child, After teaching the child, what do? You step back and you give them those cold tasks where the child has to direct himself. All right, the child has to direct himself. Now, what do? You scaffold at that point. The child directing themselves, and this is the principle we use in the mastermind. The children direct themselves 80% of the time. I am just there as the matron providing that scaffolding. The truth is, no matter how many instructions your children get, until they start directing themselves, it is not complete. And then apart from that direction, your children should start leading other people. And that's what we provide for them in the mastermind. We provide a chance for them to direct themselves. We provide them the chance for them to become leaders immediately. It is a well-taught process. So by the time your child has gone through that process for a whole year, and your child has been with us for a while, your child will come out as a refined, total, right, awesome child who understands instruction, understands building his own muscles, understand taking what he knows and already leading other people. Amazing place your child should be. All right, so mother and not only teach your children, parents, very, very key. Okay, now stick to a predictable routine. Okay, now when you're giving your children responsibilities, please create a routine, or help them, or let them create a routine. So if your child is supposed to do the laundry, let your child do the laundry at a particular time. Don't leave it to, okay, mommy, leave it later and all that. It's okay. Let them choose when they want to do it, but let them stick to that routine. Okay, do you want to clean your room in the morning before you go to school, or you want to do it after you come back from school? Be flexible. Okay, it's not war. Be flexible. Let the child choose. But then again, let there be a routine. What the routine will do is, the routine will help the child become consistent, and consistency is very key in every kind of learning. Okay, number 4, let the task or your expectations, let them be age appropriate, please. Don't give children tasks that are beyond them, beyond their age. Let them do the things that are appropriate for their ages. All right, now parents, this is very key. Push your children a little off their comfort zone. Okay, push them a little off their comfort zone. Now, how do you do that? Okay, you do that by modeling. Okay, so you model, and every time you see that your child is beginning to do well in that area, or the child has gained mastery to an extent, what do? You raise the bar. So you say to him, hey, so did you know? Okay, can we do? Let me show you. I want to show you something new. Now, show the child the next level, and then give them the chance to come up to that level. You keep raising the bar. You keep raising the bar. Now you have a 12-year-old. Your 12-year-old is still having only conversations about football and games, and the only closest thing to productivity that your child talks about or does is that he sits in a classroom and talks about math, physics, and chemistry. Your child cannot sit down to a meaningful session where people like him are having conversation, and then he contributes in that conversation. Stay in there and have a nice time. Now, that is already a problem. Now, what I'm saying is, okay, your 12-year-old cannot sit to something that is not football, that is not movies, that is not cartoon, that is not whatever. What do? Begin to introduce them to meaningful conversations. Introduce them to small conferences, small seminars, places where people are having conversations that are meaningful. Start introducing them into those places, like that. You are in a conference, call them, hey, come, there's a speaker, come and sit down with me. Let them stay there with you for 10-15 minutes, and then they go. With time, you begin to raise the bar. Oh, so you come, you're going to stay today for 30 minutes. Let's see. Just raise the bar like that. Raise the bar like that. Introduce your children to the kind of things. And this is also what the mastermind does. The mastermind puts them in that place where they begin to, allow room for personal development. Look at some of us. We are in our 30s and 40s. We cannot even spend 1 hour to develop ourselves. And that's because nobody brought us into that space to think that we needed to do something to develop ourselves. If it is not the office sending you and they are going to pay you extra code, you're not going. If it is not some other person's head that you're going to eat, or some other person that is paying for it, you're not doing. But the thing is, the world that our children are in right now, if they don't learn self-development, a lot will pass them by. A lot will pass them by. They will struggle. I mean, look at all the people who are changing the world. They're not people that their parents put them in every one of these places. The parents created the platform, but the children pushed themselves. The Elon Musks of this world, the Bill Gates of this world, the Dangotes of this world are people who pushed themselves. So if you're going to raise children who are not learning to push themselves, we're going to raise children who go to only the places that we have money for them to. They don't do anything on their own to push themselves. Then you're not preparing the child for the world that is out there. So we need to do more, parents. We need to do more. So push them a little off their comfort zone. Okay, push them to register them into programs, register them into conferences, take them with you for conferences and all of that. Take them to, take them there and you let them be with you for 10, 20, 30 minutes. And they're like, okay, mommy, I'm getting tired. And then you call up the driver or call up someone and put them in the boat, call someone to pick them, but start introducing them to these things gradually. All right, very, very key. All right, no perfection, please, parents. Okay, that's the other one. In everything, give your children room to grow. Give your children room to become. Give your children room to become, basically. Okay, that's why I said to parents in the mastermind this year. I mean, we're not pushing the children. However, your child, I mean, we're going to go with each child's pace, basically. We're going to go with each child's pace, and that's why we don't shame the children in the mastermind program. In the mastermind program, all we do is encourage the children, raise the bar, and let them know that you can do more. So today you did not report. I'm asking you, okay, you only achieved one of your goals today. That's okay, well done. Hey, let's see how we can push it. Do you need help? I mean, what can you do differently? What do you think you can do differently? The children prefer their own solutions. And the next day, you see the same child is achieving 3 goals instead of 1 goal. Okay, very, very key. Very important, all right? That we are not expecting perfection from our children. Stop judging your children. The first meeting I had with the parents in the mastermind, I said to them, the first note they got from us in the mastermind was, it is not allowed in the mastermind that you compare one child to the other if it is not positive. So the only way you want to point your child to anyone is, oh, wow, look, I mean, she likes to sing and all of that. Your child is probably a footballer, and then this other child sings because we're very big on skills in the mastermind. Oh, she sings so well, amazing. I mean, I wonder when she started learning musical instrument, but she really does sing very well and all of that. That's it. I can bet that she puts a lot of effort into it. Don't worry, the child will get the message. If she puts effort at this, it means I can put effort in my own area too. Basically, but don't no negative comparison. You don't need that at all. Okay, and then lastly, positive reinforcement. For every effort that your child makes, parents, you need to recognize them. You need to see them. You know how it is very typical for us to see all the mistakes that our children make, all the mistakes that people make, but we don't see because we are constantly looking for the mistakes. We hardly would see the good things that they do. So before you as you're getting off your car and opening the door in your head, you already have a picture of something that must be wrong in the house. So when you walk in, you can't miss it. You must see it because already you have prepped yourself. All your nerves are up, waiting, right, to give somebody buzz because you know, I don't know it. You guys will never do the right thing. Okay, so sometimes get into a space where you come in, see all the things that are wrong, cross, even if you have to jump to cross them, walk into your room and go do your thing, like that. Don't worry, by the time you come back, they would have cleared it. In fact, because a lot of times when you come in like that, they know that, oh, something is, sometimes that's all you need. That's all you need as a reminder. The fact that you could cross, or the fact that you just, oh, what is this here? Oh, okay. You cross and then you go to your room. That's enough for them to, because really, by the time you start shouting, screaming, what's going to happen? It's the same thing that will happen. They will begin to fix it because you have shouted and screaming. You have finished shouting and you were screaming. How about you go in there and they still do the same thing? So you see the outcome is the same. The difference is that you just end up being upset. You end up seeing all the mistakes and not the positive things. There are probably some positive things that the children have done that are in that same scene, but you don't see it because our brain are programmed to, see or to make big the things that are negative. So parents, this is it. This is the size of our show today. If you got value, please let us know that you got value. If you would like your child to be a part of the mastermind, all right, we have just today and tomorrow. And the 1st of February, on the 1st of February, we will not take any more person for the mastermind this year's cohort. The child will have to wait till September when we begin to, till June, July, when we begin to enroll for the next cohort. Very key. We also have a program next month. Is your child struggling in certain areas? Do you want us to create a curriculum for you that will help you teach and model in that area, okay, so that you can have some structure? As I said, there has to be expectations. You must have a conversation with the children now so that you can have a structure that you can use to teach and step that thing and model that thing to your child. Is it in the area of making friends? Is it in the area of building executive functioning skill? Is it in whatever area? We can create a curriculum for you that you can use and go through the process age appropriate with your child, okay? And then you will use this to teach your child, per time what you're supposed to do. Because a lot of times we don't teach our children, we just wake up with our expectations. No, this kind of children would disappoint you. Sometimes they will become afraid and begin to do things anyhow. But this kind of children are not learning for the time that you are not there and the pressure that you bring isn't there. All right, so if you like to be a part of that program, it's called the Personalized Education Plan. So we'll be creating a personalized education plan tailored to you and the child that you want us to create it for. So meaning you will be setting your goals, you will hand us your goal, and we'll create a plan for your goal based on your child's need. And then we will have a two-day webinar, right, where we would, consolidate on all of this and then teach you how to use our PEP. So thank you very much, everyone who made time to be here. Do I have any questions here? We must allow our kids to go through. Okay, I saw that earlier. If you yell and shout, okay, it means your children don't understand exactly. They don't understand your expectations. So thank you very much, everyone who made time to be here. We do not take it for granted. If you are catching the replay, do let us know if you got value from this session. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel and remember to click the notification button. Thank you very much. I will see you in the next Skill Up show. Before then, we have resources in the group. Do well to learn from them. We have lots and lots of videos, hundreds of videos on YouTube. Please find your way to our YouTube channel and learn. It's all resources. And we have a free resource for you, the Purpose Flashcard. It will help you have conversations. I'm sure if you've been listening to me, you've heard conversation. I am big on conversations with children because I know it is a game changer. When you are on the same page with your children from a place of respect, I am talking to you because I respect you. I'm not just doling out instructions and screaming. I am talking to you and reasoning with you. This is how you teach your children how to reason, through conversations. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic rest of the day and an amazing week. It's just Monday. Have an amazing week. Thank you. Bye. My name is Maribeth Chima and I am signing out. If you want any of these things, please just put them in the comments. Or send us a message. You always have our numbers all over the place in the group. 08130621566. Just send us for clarification, clarity, or send us your inquiries, or just reach out and say PEP or Mastermind, and we'll be there to attend to you. Bye.